Okay, today we're going to go over the Auto Trader indicators. This is just a basic introduction, and this is by Savvy Trader. Thanks. On today's agenda, we're going to have a walkthrough with the NinjaTrader charts, and I'll give you a glimpse of Thinkorswim also.
Okay, hey, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, April 15th, a little after 10 a.m. Central, and we're here with Savvy Trader Joe, who's going to be sharing with us some ideas on getting bootstrapped into the AI Auto Trader system and how he uses and integrates some of the Compass system on TOS, Thinkorswim, with helping him to determine trade directions and some additional things that can help may perhaps improve your performance with either manual trading or knowing when you should be looking for longs versus shorts in general with the auto trader enabling it accordingly. But thank you, Joe, for your time today, and I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Charles, for letting us get into your Zoom room, because definitely the screen share and audio is going to be much better. And thank you for recording. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm not going to take your whole Saturday away. I think it's going to take me about 30 minutes to get through the indicators. And this isn't going to be from A to Z. I'm going to go over a few of the basic indicators that everybody received in the Auto Trader. From this point on, I'm just going to call it the bot for just ease for myself. And we're going to start by doing something really simple. I am going to build a chart just like baking a cake. I'm going to build it in layers so you can see. I want you to be able to see how some of the settings change on the chart when you change sensitivities and settings. And I'm going to try to bring it full circle so you have kind of an understanding of where to go to when you're trying to make changes with the templates themselves, because I see a lot of posts asking Mark. I seen one this morning. Can you just give us the settings that are going to work for next week? And I just can't wait to get those because the market's going to change every week to week, and we have to adapt to it. So I'll do my best to try to explain what's happening in my chart. Hopefully you can see it. I'm going to just go just around the world on my chart, and I'll start on the left-hand side. So how I trade basically is I trade multi-time frame, even with the auto trader. I'm a directional trader. I form a bias at the beginning of the market. I determine what direction I believe the overall trend is going to be, and then I want to trade in a single direction. I'm not a type of person that doesn't scalp, but I'm not interested in taking a 1 minute scalp, um, long and short, one after the other. I don't think I can be successful at it. I need to teach my bot how to be better at it. Once I get to 85% or greater, and I've got at least 25 to 100 trades in mind, then I'll start sharing some of the templates I do. So on the upper left is my 2 minute chart. That's the primary chart that I trade off of. And when I build the chart on the upper right, you start to understand how some of these indicators come into play. On the bottom left, that's Tesla. I tend to trade Tesla every day, so it's my go-to stock. It's liquid enough in options. I'm an options trader, so I can get in and out of it quite easy. It's got great liquidity, and it's also, now that it's split, makes life a little easier to get into decent blocks. And what I mean by a block of, 100 share blocks of it, it's so liquid that you can get in and out, which is the penny spread, which is very good. In the bottom right-hand side is the dominator. So if you don't know what the dominator is, this is all about the market internals. So this chart, it's telling me whenever the upticks and up volume is above one standard deviation, it's going to turn to green. If it falls below one standard deviation and goes into 0.8, it turns to a cyan color. If it's dark gray, it's neutral. There's no trades or signaling at the time. If it's dark pink, it's very bullish, very bearish, I'm sorry. And this means that it's beyond the standard deviation of 1 to the downside. And then if it's light pink, then it's the same thing. It's 0.8. So I'm going to start up top, and I'm going to start building the chart one by one for you. So this is just purely a candlestick chart. It's you can see the background colors. These background colors are based on a multi-time frame. I do not know how Sergio coded these yet. I've been asking if they would release it. I don't know if that's an issue for them. I would like to know, but if it goes by the theory that they used in the other products, basically, if this is a 5-minute chart, the multi-time frame is going to be based on a 15-minute chart, which is 3 times the current chart. So 3 times 5 is 15. And then the other is going to be 15 times 3, which is 45. So your multi-time frame background is going to be based on a 15-minute and a 45-minute chart. So when the background colors change, it shows you when it's all green and it's a bullish trade. This is showing the 15 and the 45 is aligned in the same direction as you're trading at this time. So it's really good to trade with the overall trend, and that's kind of how I set up my trade plan, trading on multiple time frames. And I like to trade off of Heikin-Ashi candles. So to get into your indicators, you can do a couple things. One is you can just right click and get into your indicators, or you can just move up to the top and get into your indicators here. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build my cake down, so to speak, layer by layer. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add my Heikin-Ashi candles. And I want you to see what happens with the trend that you see right now, if it's easier for you to be able to spot when a trend's developing. So if you can see just what I did right there, is that the Heikin-Ashi candles, these are based off of 2 previous candles. So any place in the chart, wherever you see a candle that's formed, it's not only the data that it's receiving from that candle, but 2 previous candles. And what I really like about Heikin-Ashi is, if you can look up at right here where the colors change, look for flat bottom candles right here. This is called a reversal candle. So this is not only a signal to go long, but it's a confirmation that the trend has switched, not only by changing color, but having a flat bottom candle. And you can see what kind of explosive moves you can get on these reversals. I've asked Mark and Sergio to kind of dig in, if it's possible, for them to try to kind of implement the code for Heikin-Ashi. If you do want the Heikin-Ashi candles on your chart, they are not available in NinjaTrader 8 in their system itself. You have to go to the NinjaTrader ecosystem website and just type in Heikin-Ashi 8, and it's free. You just download it just like a regular NinjaScript into your chart. So what I will have is, on my entries, I base it off a Heikin-Ashi candle, and that's going to give me confirmation that I want to make the entry. So hopefully we can add that to the strategies that we have existing right now. So the first one I want to go to after that is I'm going to get into the bias. So if you look at the bias, you don't see anything when I turn it off. When I turn the bias back on and apply it, you can see the background colors. So we talked about this being a 3x of the current time frame chart. But what you need to be aware of is how the inputs are very sensitive to changes. Now, they use Fibonacci numbers. You don't really, if you want to dig into it, you can just Google it. But basic Fibonacci is this: 1 plus 1 is 2. Go back to the previous number, and then you go from there. You go 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 and 5 is 8. 5 and 8 is 13. 13 and 8 is 21, and so on and so forth. So you see there's a ratio of numbers that the Fibonacci numbers kick out to you. I know them because I used to use them in my trade plan, but I know that Sergio had written the script behind the scenes based off Fibonacci, so I use it. So I'm going to show you what their basic setting is. So in the program, it's 13. Okay, now I want you to look at my chart now and tell me, is anything tradable on this chart now that the bias is 13? And to me, it doesn't offer me anything whatsoever because I want to see it visually. So what I will do is I'll go into whatever strategy I'm running, and I know that my strategy based on a 5-minute chart is based on a bias of 34. So this is where my bias is right now for a 5-minute chart. You can kind of see whenever we go here at the bottom right, we have a neutral. This is very bearish. It goes into neutral. It goes into slightly bearish, very bearish, neutral again. So when it starts to change these colors, one after the other, you don't have many candles that are standing out to you. And also you look at a bottom being formed in a higher low. You're looking for a trend change. Once I see the Heikin-Ashi reversal candle right here, I want to go long. So this is what I'm trying to program the JoeBot to do, is to look for a trend change right here and get in at the Heikin-Ashi candle right here. And if you look at this move, look how long this move lasted. It moved all the way into the close. And this is a great trade. And these are the trades I want to catch. I don't care about these little moves that really chop us up. I want to get the long moves that have a very high probability chance of success. I know that Mark has talked about the star and trying to get in early, and I'm going to discuss that as we kind of move forward with the chart here. So I'm going to go ahead and implement the market internals. Thing about market internals, it's only going to fire the little triangles. That's all you're going to see. You're not going to see any changes on the chart. That's all behind the scenes. I'm going to add my fast. Okay, so with your fast, if you see the settings, what it's saying in the settings is the line slope is 2, that's a +2. So it's saying that the line slope of the RLT fast, which is really, to me, it's almost an 8 EMA moving average. So if you're used to moving averages, and these are exponential, so they have data that's more heavily weighted towards what's recent than in the past, like a regular smooth EMA. These they move a little quicker on the data that's being processed X number of bars back. So it's looking back on this setting 7 bars. So this is the parameters that they've set. I'm happy with that. I don't have an issue with it. But I just want to show you how these moving averages, as we start to layer this. So we have the background with the multi-time frame. We have Heikin-Ashi reversals. You see that candle right there with the green triangle? This is a great signal. The market internals are signaling that we want to get into this trade. We're getting a break through the RLT fast right here. It's a flat bottom candle. So you have 3 things going in your favor right now. One is it's a signal as a reversal. I know you like to buy down here, but this is where you have confirmation and you're not getting into all this crap right here, all this chop. You're having a defined trend that was set. And this defined trend moved up pretty good right here if you look at it. So we have the market internals, we have a flat bottom Heikin-Ashi reversal breaking through the fast EMA, and I want you to look at the size of the candle that it forms. It forms a candle that is much bigger than these previous candles, as you can see. So then the next indicator we're gonna add to it is going to be our slope. So this is a line slope of 2. and this is based off of 50, the 50 EMA. So basically what you want to look for when you're looking at the 50 is, you're looking at the 50 as the overall trend. This is the long trend. You always want to trade in the direction of the 50. You know, you don't want to take these type of trades. You see how it comes up, it's green, it's bullish, it pulls back, the background goes neutral, and you're like, okay, we got to change the direction right here. It turned from green to red. This is not the type of trades you want to take because there's not a lot of meat on the bone. This is when you get stopped out. But whenever it returns to trend, it's above the 15, it's above the 50, the overall trend, Hakanashi reversal candle, moving to the upside, you can stay into the trade. And this is where we need some development, in my opinion, with the auto trader, the bot itself. Instead of taking a fixed stop move right here, I'd like to see an exit based on, and we have a condition in there right now on the line change. So the line change is right here. This is where green, and red goes. So I like to see some, I assume I could stretch out my target for my profit target out farther, especially the second target. On mine, I think I'm just going to make a discretionary target and have to close the trade manually because I'm not gonna let it trade on my account and go to bed. I'm going to be watching my trade. So I like this right here. And if you notice that right here, whenever it had a change, the market internals were green here, but you notice that we don't have any flat bottom candles that formed through here. One right here, it didn't close higher. And then you had a Hakanashi reversal. A flat top on a red candle is a Hakanashi reversal candle. This told me right here, this trade might be having issues of going higher. It did a flat top here, did a flat top here, continued to stay above the 8, a flat top again. All these wicks above and below the body are telling me that, hey, I might be getting to the top of this market. When it broke the line, closed right here, that's when I want to get out of the trade. Then we jump into having our pivots, and we'll apply the pivots. Now, the pivots are pretty interesting in themselves. You can see where the pivots are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the Hakanashi, just so you can see, and just for your information, if you're ever a discretionary trading and you're looking at candlestick patterns, never draw your candlestick support and resistance lines off Hakanashi candles. You always want to draw them off candlesticks, and that's because you truly see the top of the range here. It's better defined, they're more definitive, and they're much more reliable. So whenever we look at pivots, Roy had made a mention, never trade through pivots. Well, I want to show you something about a pivot that maybe some of you don't know. Whenever you look, we're above the 15, we're moving up, we have the market internals in our favor, this is a good trade. And what happens with my bot, the way it's coded, is that whenever it gets a break above these pivots, it wants to take a long, which is fine. Normally, when you get to a pivot area, usually it tests that area twice, and on the third time it breaks through. But here's the problem with a breakthrough, a pivot area. A lot of times, even though it will break through, it won't close above the pivot area. And you can see it made 1 candle, 2 candles, 3 candles. The 4th candle actually closed above that pivot area right there. So it broke above that pivot area. But then again, we have another pivot that is just overhead. So whenever I see multiple pivots like this is where I look at my my bot and I wonder, do I want to leave him in the long, or do I want to just turn him off and let this price right here kind of resolve itself? So that's something that we haven't talked about in the room. I'm sure it's going to be a discussion at some time forthcoming, that the bot still requires a little bit of human intervention to get the most out of it, so, keep that in mind. And also, whenever we start looking at these pivots, remember that you have a sensitivity factor. If I take 150 and I move it to 75, I want you to see what happens to my pivots. So they're still there. But if I go to 250 above, you can see that it starts to take some of those pivots away. Some of them disappear. And as I increase my value even higher, it hasn't done it again, but as I increase this, I'll get to a point where, these pivots start to disappear completely. Now I've gone from a sensitivity of 150 to 500, and now this is the only pivot left that I have on my screen. So when you look at your sensitivity for your pivots, this is a user-defined parameter. So just keep in mind that 150 is fine. It's going to work sometimes, but sometimes it's not going to be as reliable. So, this is something that you can try to back test for, but I can tell you, it's one of those things where if you don't get a move through these pivots on a very large bar, if you see these bars right here, see how long these candles are? This is a very, very definitive move right here. The bulls took total control of this move. And it said, when I get to the pivot, I don't even care that the pivot is there. 1, 2, 3. And then it had a tail over the body, and then it starts to signal another reversal. So this is something I'm going to talk to Sergio about on whenever you get these range expansion bars. It's built into the Compass system, which I'll show you last, that the script has been written. I don't know if it's too complex for NinjaTrader to implement it on an auto basis, but that's something where when these candles close near their high, you're staying in the trade. And once you get one of these signals where it closes below, let's say 20%, that's what we use right now of the candle, this is an exit point. So you want to keep all your profits once it signals here. Can it go higher? Of course it can. But also, if you would have got out of it and it signaled, okay, this candle right here pulled back to the lower 20%, when this candle closed, this one right here would exit your position. So you'd be out of it here, and you're not gonna take the pain of this big red candle move to the downside. So let's keep adding our indicators. So we've gone through quite a few already. We're going to jump on our VZ, so the volume zones. So when you look at VZ, these volume zones, I want you to see these are very, very similar to when you have the pivots. You're trading into pivots right here. And what you'll find is if you track volume, you'll find that this is all driven by the algos. This is not retail traders that move the market. Just so everybody understands that the artificial intelligence that's implemented against the retail trader is very powerful nowadays, and they know where the pivots are. They know that we look at them, and they design their programs to take the retail traders out of their game. And then they reverse the positions, and it moves higher, and you're just left there with your hat in your hand, wondering why you're not making money. And it's a tough market to trade in. It's a very low probability market. We've only had one even close to a trend day, and that was Thursday of last week, where we had some bullish bias that lasted pretty much the whole day long. So kind of just like with your pivots, your sensitivity, it works the same. If you start changing your sensitivity, you're going to see that your pivot, your VZ zones start to disappear in pretty much the same relationship as you see your pivot points themselves. So I leave my sensitivity right now at 150. I don't have a problem trading into these zones as long as this isn't happening. If you see this move right here, you see how the candles are starting to develop themselves in this pattern, stair stepping up, stair stepping up. And then this is overnight trading, gap down, gap down, gap down. Well, whenever we have an extreme move, like this is like a V reversal. Here's your high, here's your low. Once you get back up here, I'm looking to take profits. I'm not looking at trading any contracts higher than this right here. So that's another consideration that we have to look at for the bot to get him trained on being able to look at how many bars have passed. I know some traders use the average true range on the daily, some of the future traders. So if it tends to move, a 60 tick move in a day and it's moved 55 and it's here, I'm hesitant about taking another long trade up into a pivot, up into the high of the day when it's already extended. And when I go through the template itself, I'm going to point out where you can tell it not the trade the high of the day, but I leave mine not enabled. And the reason for that is because when I get into a trade day where it starts to trend, I want to take the trades into the high of the day, because the high of the day is just moving higher and moving higher and moving higher over the trend. And I've built up some leeway in my account. I have 2 or 3 winning trades that I've already banked. So I can sit through a pullback and not have any issue with it. But if my first trade of the day is at the high pivot, and it's getting close to an hour before the close, then I start to question if that's the best way I want to put a trade on. So that's for our volume zone. Then I'm going to get into some stuff with the Laguerre. Okay, so if you've heard of RSI, if you've heard of stochastics, these are all oscillators. And these oscillators, basically what you're looking for is, you're looking for whenever they flat bottom and they move through this red area, this is where you can possibly start to look at getting into some longs right here, is whenever this breaks above. This is built into the bot itself, so it's not something that you need. And really, you don't need to look at any of these charts. I only want to share this because I want people to understand some of the logic behind why the bot does what it does. And if you make changes in your settings, that this is how it affects your template when you change it on from one day to the next. So I just add these to it. So this is the Laguerre. What I like about the Laguerre is if it has a tendency not to have divergence. So let me explain divergence in 15 seconds. When price goes up and your indicator goes down, that's divergence. When the indicator goes up and price goes up, that means everything is in sync. So divergence is when your indicator is giving you a signal that's opposite of what the price action is doing. So the Laguerre, in the way that it's been coded, takes almost all, and I've been using it for 3 years, almost all of the opportunities for it to diverge from price itself. So I use it whenever I trade every day. VWAP, volume weighted average price. VWAP in the morning, I don't trade the first half an hour of the market for a couple of reasons. One is I want to know which way it's going to go, so I have to develop my plan. And volume weighted average price is one of those signals that you check. And what happens is, whenever you have overnight trades that you can see right here, this is the overnight session and we're getting into the morning session. It takes a little bit of time for VWAP to actually resolve itself in price and actually be accurate. So the first 15 minutes of the day, VWAP is pretty much a useless signal. But after, after 5 or 6 bars on a 5-minute candle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this candle right here, it starts to resolve itself and it starts to kind of calm itself down, and you can rely on it. You want to be trading in the direction of the trend, and you want to take longs above VWAP and you want to short below VWAP. So that's one of the indicators and signals that you have in your package there with the bot. I'm going to turn my Hakanashi back on. All right, more colors. This is the same thing of your chart background, but it's running on a different bias setting. So this is the multi-time frame Laguerre. This is the same thing that is built into the settings that you have in your package. This comes over from Compass. I think it's included in the script that's provided. I could be wrong. I put it on here because I just want to show you what I use on my chart, and the same theory for your background chart. It's the same theory for these colors right here. If it's green, that means multi-time frame is aligned and it's very bullish. When it goes yellow, this means there's no trade, it's neutral. Then we get it to switch into negative. This is very bearish. Then this signal right here is slightly bullish. And what I mean by these changes where this is very bullish, this is when it's pegged at 100, at 80 to 100. It's maxed out. Whenever it comes off a bottom where it forms a zero, crosses the 20, then this indicator with the multi-time frame Laguerre, that means that this is crossing up and it's heading up into the green zone. If it can't make it to the green zone, what'll happen is that it'll turn yellow. You can see how it failed here. So it's aligning with this. This indicator is telling me that, hey, we made a move off the lower zone into the higher zone and we failed. Whenever I see a signal like this, that tells me that price ain't going higher. Chances are we're going to just get down and we're going to make a new lower low, which we did right here. You can see price traded right up into the 50, but you can see that the 50 is red. So whenever the 50 is red, the long-term trend is down. You don't want to be taking any longs to get long, not until this trend changes. And the trend is not going to change until the short time frame, the fast EMA crosses above the 50 and changes and returns back to the overall upward trend like we had all the way over on the left. This indicator is the last one I'm going to get into, and this one is the consolidation zone. And I'm not real happy with the way that it shows up on the chart. And the reason for that is because it just doesn't fire very many signals. I mean, I can look back through my chart and stuff, and I just don't find many signals with the consolidation zone. I'm going to show you what it looks like when we get into TOS and we talk about some stuff on TOS just briefly. But I want to grab. I'm going to grab something from my NinjaTrader chart if I can. Just want to bring the strategy, and this is just one of the strategies we've been working with. So you see a lot of parameters on here. So I kind of try to cover as best as I could in a short period of time. I don't want to kill you. I mean, I've already gone about 40 minutes into it, and we just talked about layering the indicators. But all the signals are here. From my understanding, everything's pretty much the same. If I tell you the same, I know it's the same on Compass. If I tell you I don't know, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I just want to make it clear. And I don't get paid by BrightMind. This is just me doing my thing, helping out. So I could go away and stay in the option room, and spend my time over there, but I just see all the new people over, in the room, and it was Mark that asked me to start the Discord, so I've been spending a little time over there, really a lot more time than I really should, because I'm not trading my option contracts as much, but I want to help. I mean, seriously, that's the only thing I get out of it, is if you find some value in what I talk about. And in no way that, I expect you to kind of grasp everything that I grasped at this point. I've been trading this full time for 3 years. And in all honesty, if you're a discretionary directional trader like I am, it takes a good 2 years to be profitable. You just don't get there. And I spent 15 years as a part-time trader and a couple years as a licensed stockbroker. So I've been down the road. So I've kind of got my stuff together now. So I just want to kind of enlighten, the ones that come into the room to some of the advantages that the bot has, and how you can kind of take advantage of it. I still think it's a work in progress. I just want to go over something that we haven't really discussed much, and that's the bias criteria. Because I know people are changing the templates, but I just want to kind of get you to understand what's happening with the bias here. This is with the market internals. So what happens is, when we look at up, up, down, down, what you told the bot to do is, I am buying, I'm a buyer here. I'm a buyer at green. I'm not a buyer when it's slightly bullish. I'm a buyer here. Well, I have no problem buying here. I'm going to get more trades as long as I can get a good quality trade, because typically what will happen is it'll go from neutral into slightly bullish and then bullish. Whenever you get these moves like we did right here, it's a very strong move. But this is one reason why we're not getting a lot of hits on some of the trades, is the fact that we're up, up, down, down. We're either green or red. Now, if you go into MUMD, what happens is it brings this into play. It says, hey, whenever it's a light pink, I can go short. So I'm shorting it here. I'm not waiting for the short here. And like I said, for the longs, I can go long into the cyan. I don't have to wait for it to turn green. And then I am not sure about PUPD. I believe PUPD, in some form or fashion, it basically says, I don't really care what the background color is. If it fires a signal based on some of these other criteria that you have in here, like your 1550 crosses and stuff, or the 50 above price, that it'll take the trade. So I think it disregards the background. I could be wrong with that. I do know that it's the most lenient of all the bias criteria. I'm still trying to get answers on some of this. One of my settings that I use a lot is this one, up, up, down, down, or MUMD. So what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for anything other than a neutral trade. I'm okay going from light pink to dark pink. I'm okay going from cyan to green, and I'm okay going from anything. I can go neutral into green. So it opens the door on a lot of other opportunities. And if we get into the 15 and we get into the criteria, what I'll do is, when I've decided that it's a bullish day, I'm green. I'm a green trader. I'm green trading. So I'm testing this. I need at least 25 sample trades. And if you know as well as I do, it's hard to get trades out of the bot on some days. But it's better to have less trades and quality trades than a bunch of trades, on the table. So that's pretty much that animal right there. I'm sure you guys are going to have some questions. I just wanted to go over some, some indicators, and kind of get you rolling. Um, I don't know what the difference is between the market internals for the Dominator, which is here. This is purely market internals. And you can see I was buying up the SPY here. I was buying up the SPY on every level because my background was green. It was making higher lows. It was going into compression. If you look at this little, it's hard to see, and this is what I mean. If you look at this little blue line right here and this little red line, this is a compression area break right there. This is a very strong signal when you can get these compression areas. I don't know why it's not showing up very well, as opposed to what it looks like in Thinkorswim. But, for those that are curious, here's Thinkorswim. This is what it looks like. So, your current time frame Laguerre is on the bottom, your multi-time frame Laguerre is right here. And then this is the quant, this is institutional volume that's coming in. This is what Right Line Trading had built, and this is how I got associated with them. When they came out with this system, well, one of my trading friends, who's a full-time professional trader, he bought the program and said, look, I am making good money off this program. And I said, well, good, I'd like to see it too. So I jumped on the bandwagon with him, and he kind of did the testing, and then I jumped on it next. If you want to know how crazy I am during the day, this is my chart that I trade off of every day, with my market internals, with the Dominator, with the bot. I trade off the advanced decline line. I look for Heikin-Ashi reversal signals, flat bottoms going higher. This tells me that with the NQ, with the QQQ, this tells me whenever I see institutional buying, this is going up. Same thing with the ticks. I count ticks all day on this histogram, and I also look for a tick change where it's outside this zone right here. I'm looking for price to rise, and I can see that with this blue line's my 5 EMA. I track the IWM, the QQQs, the volume up and down, and I track the SPY. So I watch all these constantly all day long to give myself an idea of, this is how I form my thesis in the first 30 minutes of trading. So that's how I do my thing every day. So man, I know that was a lot. I just wanted to kind of build that chart up. And now you can see that this chart is back to how I trade it. So if I want to just load up that template and stuff, I just load it up. Now it's basically here's the one that I'll trade off of all day long, in the NinjaTrader platform. So you want to open it up and let people ask questions, and then we can kind of do a wrap up on this, Charles?
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you. That was, and I'm reading the comments in the chat, and people are just, praising that you've taken your time and been so generous this morning to give us this insight, share your wisdom, how the markets move, what the market makers are doing, go into depth on layering and building the chart, what each piece does. I mean, this was an incredibly informative and instructional 60 minutes. Well, sorry, no, 43 minutes only, but very good. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Let me just make something really clear. I can share some of the stuff that I have on TOS to you, and I mean as a group. But what I can't do is, I can't send anything associated with Right Line Trading software that I had purchased, like that's in the background. So if you DM me on the Discord and you go, oh, I like you to share something, I can share my layouts with you. I have no problem with that. Just understand that there's some code buried in some of that stuff that I have that I cannot include in it because, well, I mean, I don't think Roy or I don't think Mark would appreciate if I just give away the Right Line Trading stuff for free. And as much as I'd like to, And then there's also some proprietary stuff that I have that I've gotten through the years that is kind of in the same boat too. That's proprietary software that I had purchased because I'm an indicator nut from way back. So I certainly can get you pointed in the right direction and build you a chart and share that with you so you can get it, get it up and running and you can work with it. And then where you take it from there is going to be on you. But I certainly have no problem sharing as much as I can with you. So it'll just take me a little time to kind of strip it down to where it's kind of a legal one I can share, and then I'll do that. Not a problem.
That's incredible. And yes, and as Dalisa mentioned, every day you're sharing so much in the Discord with us, not just this morning session, which is incredible. I think there were a couple of questions. You did mention one of them about the things you can share. So as you can, please feel free to update us in the Discord or communicate how you'd like to get things to different folks. There was one question about where do you get the RLMA MTF Laguerre signal B? I believe that's there are a couple different sections in the indicators list in NinjaTrader, but
Yeah, so if you jump into your file and go into market internals, if you look at the market internals, you'll notice that this is the files that they had given you with the auto trader. Now, if I get into my market internals, that's when you're going to start to see where my data tracker comes from, where some of these other strategies are built, my market analyzer, and here's where the RLM modified Laguerre, the signal A and B, and the multi-time frame Laguerre comes from. So just to be clear, anything in the market analyzer, that's stuff that I had purchased. Like I said, I'm not employed by them, so I had to buy my software. So I had to pay money for it. So some of that stuff I can't hand out to you, but I will respond and say, hey, look, I'm gonna confirm it first before I send anything. But if it's included in the package that he sent me with the with the bot software, I will help you install it and do what you want to do with it. If I had purchased it, well then I can ask, or simply you can email Rory and say, hey, I have the auto trader. I saw that Savvy was using this indicator, and can you give me a deal? Or can you take care of me? Or whatever you want to tell him. And I'm sure he's been really good to me because as I bought, more than one piece of software from him, he always comes to the plate and with a deal that's reasonable. I'm not paying, full price for it, but he's making, he'll make his money and he gets it to me at a fair price. I'm happy with it. So you just have to kind of ask him and see where he'll go with it. So, and look, don't get too wrapped up in what I do, because I'll be honest with you. Nobody can trade like you. Nobody can trade like me. You can emulate some of the things I do. You take, maybe 50% of what I say and learn from it. And then you have to create your own style of trading. And either it works or it doesn't, and then you kind of go from there. The bot is not going to make you $1 million this next week because we changed some setting in it. But what's gonna make a change is that you becoming a well-rounded trader, watching the market, learning how the market cycle works, know when you should, really start to be aggressive. Because the final thoughts on the bot for me is this: the bot is kind of like, if you look at the bot, kind of like you do let's say just like the weather. Today it's raining where I live. Every day I'm not going to go outside with a t-shirt, pair of shorts, and and some sandals, some flip-flops. Today wouldn't be a great day for that. So I have to wear a jacket because the conditions change. Same thing with the market. You know, if you are just a trader that's happy with scalping, long and shorts all day long, more power to you. The bot is going to be amazing. If you have a more longer term bias like me, there's a lot of work that I need to put in to get this thing to work because I want it to do trades for me like I trade for myself. And I know it's not going to happen overnight, but if I can get it to 85% and perform well, well then that's my goal with it. So you just take it for whatever it's worth. You have to have the bot coded eventually to be able to work in multiple environments, but it's not going to be just one strategy for each. Some days you shouldn't be trading the Russell. Some days you should have no business trading the NASDAQ. Some days you need to switch the instrument. Right now we're in that learning phase where everybody just goes all in, every instrument, and that's fine if it works and the market is, has some continuity. But when there's no confluence, there's no continuity in the market, that's where you're going to see, you know, the bot, because of the way that it's structured, that it works today and it doesn't work tomorrow. Everyone's all disappointed. It's a long road to be successful. Everyone's trying to work hard to get that thing to work, for everybody and make money. So you kind of have to have patience. You gotta put it on and let it trade. Let it trade for 2 or 3 weeks without touching it, and then sample your size. And for those of you that are back test nuts, I don't back test anything, period, nothing. And the reason for that is I don't, how do I know if I back test for last week and we had a bullish trend and we get into a bearish trend next week, what am I supposed to do? My bot's not going to perform very well. So back testing doesn't work for me. I always test live in the market with the conditions. But I have a leg up on you because I have the ability to be able to process what direction the market's going to go. It's not like it's a guarantee, but I want to kind of stay nimble and I want to move where the trend's moving, and I don't want it to counter trend for me. I want it to catch the biggest moves. Just one big move a day, 20 or 30 ticks. That's good for me. I'm happy with that. I don't want it to trade, these 10 tick moves, 5 tick moves, stops me out here, stops me out there, and I just disappointing. But that's my style and strategy. It has nothing to do with what the style and strategy of anybody else in the room. More power to you. It's kind of hard to teach the old dog some tricks. Like right now, the 1 minute chart just blows my mind. I don't trade off the 1 minute chart. It's too noisy for me. But I know Mark has been extremely successful up until the past couple of weeks with the NQ 1 minute. He's done very well with it. So I'm still running his strategies. Don't get me wrong. I haven't abandoned any of them. I run those strategies against the ones I modify. And like I said, the ones I modify, if they turn out to be good ones, they're 85% or better, and I've got at least 25 trades on them, I'll start sharing those.
Excellent words of wisdom. Thank you for sharing all that with us, Joe. And I'll, I back you up on all of what you've mentioned. We appreciate that you've come in here to share your wisdom, because that's something that takes time. And you've explained a lot of key points that somebody coming, even who has the system or has had some of the Compass systems for a while, may not be aware of really the ways that they can be used, or some of the details you shared. So that's really helpful. But as you did note, nobody can truly emulate anyone else. Otherwise, all of us have been down this journey of joining different trade rooms. We'd all be rich, like allegedly the people who run those trade rooms are. Nobody trades exactly the same way, and you have to learn, and integrate the things that you get, and then make it your own at some point, something you're comfortable with, so that you can stick to your plan. Your plan's going to be different from my plan every day, and I have to be using a plan that works for me with my account setting, with my risk tolerance, and so that I stay in the trades that are per my plan, and I get out per my plan, and not guessing about what you would be doing, or Mark, or anybody else. So this is just truly informative. So many wonderful comments in the chats. I did see that, and Cristo, you had mentioned about how to get into the options trading room. That's the trading room that is run by David Weiss, and I've seen, he puts out emails weekly, and at least every few weeks he does a training session, it seems like, and those are recorded, so I recommend that you look for those if you might have them in your email, or reach out to Rory and ask about getting the Compass system for TOS, and that will give you some time in David Weiss's room, and then there's a subscription for that, I believe, that's separate. But that's how, that's an opportunity for you to leverage options trading along with the Compass indicators, and that's separate from the futures trading that we're doing with the bot, with the AutoTrader AI bot, and the other rooms where David Kushner or Craig Emery run. So it's not Savvy's options trading room. No, the gentleman who runs that, and if you look at the presentations that Rightline Trading puts out, I think it was just a couple of days ago, Mark did or Rory did a presentation. He showed, in the first screens, the people who make up the team at Rightline Trading, and that's David Weiss, W-Y-S-E is his last name, and he's the team member who trades options through Thinkorswim. And he's on and off the mic all day long, so it's a full room. He starts early in the morning and goes until after the close of the market. Now, he's not talking all the time, but he's on, and so that's a really informative room. But it's a separate approach. It's using options instead of futures trading, and it's not scalping trades in the futures here. But highly recommend it. You should look into it if that's something that interests you. And I don't think there were any other questions. If there were, please let us know, folks. And I would just regarding the NinjaTrader, you were talking about the channel, the compression breakout. Just for all of us, I'm sure that you mentioned the lines weren't too thick; they weren't quite as visible on that one chart that you looked up. And I believe you can. I believe you can adjust the thickness or the width of the lines in the indicator settings. Just wanted to let you know that.
I have. Let me just find.
Oh, it still doesn't seem to be too thick. It's possible.
Let me show you on. Let me show you on TOS, and what a compression break looks like.
Yep, they look tremendously different on.
Yeah, I mean,
charts,
if you're looking at TOS, here's a compression break.
Yep.
I mean, it's just totally different.
Yep.
These breaks of compression on the 5-minute, what happens is they also repeat themselves. And when you look at the daily, if you look at the daily, let me get off the SPY because I have too many signals on the SPY. You can start to see how, this is a lot of chop right here. Roy loves this because I wrote the code. Well, ChatGPT is my friend. He helped me write the code for my drop down, my dashboard, and he loves it. But David Wise is old school. He's like, well, Dave should be excited, and I just hate to say it, but Dave's not going to be excited because Dave trades his way, and any foo-foo idea that I have, not because it's my idea, but I just know after a couple years of trading with him that he's focused on just what he likes, like I have become in my trading. That hey, if it works for you, I'm okay with it. I have no problem. But sometimes you just get into indicator overload or just too much stuff. But it just shows up so much better in TOS than it does in what we have on the NinjaTrader platform. And I made those lines as wide as I could make them. Well, I made them 10 wide. and then I can almost not see the candle. The problem is,
Yeah.
is that they don't trigger very often.
But when they do, they're worth noting, as you.
Yeah,
Alluded
because we all know that whenever we get into, any of the code, I mean, accessing the code whenever we're in the NinjaTrader isn't like when we access code like here. Like I can go through my code here, where in NinjaTrader, I'm just a doofus. I'm too stupid to, or too lazy to, if I can't see the code, it's hard for me to understand totally of what the indicator does or what's happening with it. So I can't speak why the little consolidation zone one doesn't work as well. Maybe it's just the way that the script is written in NinjaTrader, but nevertheless, it is what it is. I mean, we just work with what we got, and it's not a big critical thing. It's just one of those. It's just one item that breaks the compression. I don't even need to see them anymore. I see them so much. If you look on the bottom left, the Tesla right here, here's a compression area right here. It's formed on the right side of the chart. Tiny candles inside the previous candles in a very tight range. This is basically almost what you can consider, um, a
it's
bull
a
flag. I mean, you can look at it as as it's starting to form like a little flag formation and stuff. Right here, a little pennant, pennant. So, I mean, the more you trade, you start seeing these, and you're like, okay, fine. You're going to see it right here at NQ at the very top, right through that pivot. Candles got really slow. It got compressed right here. It's getting all this energy, and look at that candle it fired off. Now, if you wait for this candle to complete, it's not a great trade. But in order to capture this type of move right here, oh my God, you got to have your mouse clicker going. And those are the type of trades while I'm in the room that when I post at the end of the day, they're like, well, how come he made money and the bot didn't? Well, because trying to code these signals into the bot, I know we keep going down that road over and over again. It's not impossible, but oh my God, Sergio's one man. And for all the IT professionals that are in the room, you guys just join up and try to explain to the ones that aren't, knowledgeable in that area, how much work and effort it takes to be able to write some of the code for it to do what you want it to do. It's not like, okay, I put a checkbox here. No, there's a Hakanashi reversal. There's a lot that has to be written to get it to work and work properly.
Absolutely, and you forget that your brain is doing a billion calculations a second. When you look at the screen, you're taking in context that's intuitive, perhaps, if you look at trades and charts and stuff long enough, or you've experienced. But trying to write code that emulates, well, I've got this above that, and we've got a green background, and we have this over here, and this is trending down, and that's a higher low. There's a lot that goes into, a blink of an eye. You can see a lot of things and infer what the obvious thing is that you're going to be looking for. But in code, it's very specific about, you have to write things a very specific way from all the different potential market conditions. And that gets really complicated as soon as you go down that path. Anyway, thank you. Not to get into a technical discussion, but thank you for mentioning that as well. I did mute everybody at the beginning of this recording, but if anyone would rather get on the mic and ask any final questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves or type anything in the chat. If not, then I'll wait a minute here and we'll see if any closing thoughts. But this is an awesome session, just over an hour, and just incredible amount of information. I hope the recording comes through well, and I'll look to get that. I'll probably put it on a Google Drive link, but not sure how we're going to post those, whether we convert it to a YouTube video or just share the link, whatever works for folks.
Probably YouTube would probably be best, but I mean, if you can get it to me, I can probably just throw an intro into it, and then I can post it on YouTube and then send a link out, and everyone can get it.
Okay, if you prefer that, that's fine too. Otherwise, I'll
Either
just
way,
put it on my
either way, it
Google
makes no
Drive and
difference.
link that. Is the quick way. But I'll definitely send you the link. And folks, we'll keep be patient, and we'll get this posted as soon as we can get it finalized, and hopefully it comes through good good quality for everybody, and those who weren't able to make it will be able to watch it or watch it over and over again to glean all the
Yeah,
wonderful details that you shared with us this morning, Joe. Thank you.
yeah. Somebody's asking about market reads. So to make it super simple is, a market read is this. Um, the hardest thing to trade is going to be your indexes. And the reason for that is you don't have any edge other than your ability to read the best indicator that was ever made is price itself. That's the only one that doesn't have lag or any kind of negativities to it. But reading pure price action is an art that there's a handful of guys that are super good at it. But when I look at market reads, what happens is I let the market open. Okay, so I'm watching the SPY, I'm watching the Q, I'm watching IWM. So I'm watching those three. And then I'm just looking for the same signals that I want to go long or short. I'm looking if it's forming compression, if it's making new highs. Is it getting above the previous day high and it looks bullish? Or if it's getting below the low and it looks bearish? I look at my market internals on the dominator, what color background it has. Is it dark gray and it says neutral? Don't trade right now. Just sit on your hands. Number two, does it go to cyan or green and say, "Hey, I'm bullish," or does it go pink or light pink or dark pink and say, "I'm bearish"? And I watch the advanced decline line. That's kind of like my on a 2 minute chart. That's kind of like my fine tuning entry whenever I watch it. But my overall thesis is created on a multitude of things, and it's watching all the indexes. Are they all moving? What happened when the market opened? Okay, the 11 major sectors, are they all moving and they're over 1% in most of them? Or is it just two or three sectors dragging the market up? Why I don't have the faith that we're going to have a trend day? So, I mean, getting a read on the market is probably one of the most important things that I have learned and developed in the past couple of years. It's very hard to get there, and it's not a red light green light type thing. It's basically built up over, you know, watching the chart, looking at the indicators. I documented in my brain. Okay, we had an open, and technology and financials have to drive the market forward on a trend day. If you don't have participation in both, chances are that it never happens. That's not true. But seldom do you have a really good trend day without those participations. So I look at Microsoft, I look at Apple, I look at Tesla in a watch list, and I track those. I just look at them. Are they red or green? Simple as that. I'm not pulling up the chart. I kind of know what the chart looks like because I look at them every day at one point in time, and I know if they're in a bullish or bearish trend, and I've got my feel for the market from those factors. There's a lot going on. Maybe one day I can go live and I can throw a chart up, and maybe between, and I got to thank you, Charles, for giving us the opportunity to use the room. Maybe I can get into the room at a market open, and I can talk everybody kind of through what I do, because it happens in the first 30 or 45 minutes. And there's no guarantee. I might get to 45 minutes and go, I don't have a clue. There's nothing telling me anything is happening right now. So I'm just sitting on my hands, just waiting for the bot to fire a trade off, or maybe one of the stocks that I look at when the indexes are flat, that's making new lows and moving lower, and it's very weak. I'll trade it while I wait for the signals to kind of produce themselves.
Well, that would be incredibly generous, and I would definitely work with you. I'm happy, as we discussed, to make use of this Zoom room for for whatever we can use to share and communicate with the group as part of this program and process. We're all growing and moving forward and trying to help one another. And I'm just trying not to overcommit your time, because you've already been incredibly generous in the chats, sharing everything, all the information and feedback and thoughts on what you're doing and giving people guidance. There's more to this, really. There can be, more than just turning on your bot and walking away. We've never seen I've never come across anything that you can just turn it on, walk away, and make money every day. And so I think it's just important for us all to continue to, as we're all growing and learning the system, how the configurations work, how the market influences the way the bot reacts, and learn to put some thought into how we're using the bot when we turn it on, when we turn it off, much as you're doing, here is showing us to really learn to put a little effort in, read the market, put some thought into it, and try to maximize this tool, which is what the bot is to me. It's a tool that can help us to leverage what we're already doing, and but have something that can take a little bit of the burden of getting in and out of the trades manually for us. But thank you again for your time, and
You're welcome, and I appreciate everybody that came into the room. So, we're just, just let me know if you want me to post or you post, Charles, the video. Either way is fine with me. And I'm going to try to work on some notes, maybe later on today, on, covering the rest of the breakdown of the global parameters on the in the template. I know we covered quite a bit today. That was good. It kind of make that kind of a shortcut. I don't have to dig too deep in it, but I'll make a complimentary PowerPoint to kind of go along with the video and stuff. That's what I'll do. And I'll post it separate whenever I get it done.
Fantastic, Joe. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think with that, we'll end this meeting. Feel free, let's everybody, we can follow up in the Discord chats as we have been all along here, and I'll get you a copy of this. I'll send you the meeting recording later this morning, and we'll review together how we propose to share it out to the teams, and we'll go forward from there. Have a great, safe weekend, everybody, and thanks again for your time this morning, Joe.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Charles.
Cheers.
Thanks, bye.